morning. I'm on holidays. I've got 10 days off, and first thing this morning I've decided I'm coming out here to get stuck into the interior, and because I'm going to paint it, if I haven't already suggested that that's what this video is about. Roll cage came out first. That's all gone, which is brilliant. And I saved one little bit of the tar removal from the sound deadening for while that was out, because it's like a kid's play gym, monkey bars and all sorts with the roll cage in the car. So I saved that for last, but here it is. Very grotty interior, with the last of the tar being melted as we speak. Getting ready to be prepped for paint. To start with, getting rid of a little bit of rust that is on the floor. I'm going to give the rusty areas a little bit of scuff. I've got some sandpaper, and then I'll hit it up with a rust converter. Why this particular brand of rust converter? It's because it's the one that I could buy from my local auto parts store. I do prefer to support small local business where I can, especially given I'm in a small town. For everybody who watched my epic motion picture known as installing my roll cage, you probably would have been screaming at your screen about the time I was drilling the holes for mounting the base of the cage to the floor of the car, because I didn't clean up the swarf, the leftover bits of metal shavings that clearly caused rust. But I always knew that I was going to be doing this part, and so I am coming back around and cleaning that up now before I get the painting done. I'm also going to leave the bit of tar on the floor there, just as a bit of a footing and a base for the roll cage to sit on. And I'm hoping that it might help stop the cage from having a few rattles and things here and there. So the little bit of tar underneath the roll cage is actually going to stay. I like this. It actually says common sense precautions should be observed in the safety directions. Shush! Bloody chickens laying eggs. The last bit to do is the boot, and unfortunately that's the worst. And there's even a couple of spots here where the rust is quite bad, particularly around the latch here, and also one of the drainage holes right at the bottom. Ideally it would want to be cut out and re-welded with some new metal, but that might have to wait for another day. I'm just going to rust convert it and paint it for now. Time to clean off the residue and see how that worked. That job's done, and it's not entirely terrible. I'll get some primer on those bits before I do a full clean and prime of the inside. So I've gone to spray some primer on this stuff that I've done the rust converter on, and I've pulled this rubber stripping off from around where the boot latch is, and I think I've opened a can of worms, to be honest. This spot here is it's quite rough, and ultimately it should be cut out. There's actually there's some holes right through the metalwork there, but that's not a job for this part of the project. I might actually steal the steel out of the ex-fire station rescue car, or what's left of it, and tackle this as a project at another point in time, where I can actually cut out and patch new steel into this, essentially properly fixing that patch of rust right there. It'll also be really good because it'll be like a practice run for me for if I ever decide to do some rust repairs on this, or even this. But that's a little project for a future episode. Oh, good point to say subscribe if you like what you're watching. Lots of different things happening on this car, and if you want to see what we've done so far, I've made a playlist on it too. So I will actually give this another wire brush and treat it again with the rust converter. There's a couple of other spots I've noticed that I've missed too, so I'll do those. The primer only takes an hour before you can top coat it anyway, so while I'm cleaning the rest of the car up, that'll give that a chance to do its job, and then yeah, clean that off, a bit of primer, and we're ready to go. Before I spray any primer, this is just an etch primer to go over the top of the little bits that I've taken care of with the rust converter. Before I spray this though, I just want to bring up the prevention of overspray. I've seen, as a professional car detailer, way too many examples of overspray from just very small jobs here and there, affecting parts of the car that were not meant to get any paint on them. Throw a sheet or an old blanket over the bulk of whatever you don't want to get overspray on, whether that's in the interior of the car or over the whole car itself. If it's just a little job you're doing, and you don't have to mask the whole car up, but throw something over the top of it so that when the overspray lands, it's not landing on your paintwork. I'm gonna just use this old sheet to throw over the dashboard area to prevent overspray on my steering wheel, on my dash panel, and on this beautiful piece of carpeting. Window glass. You could tape it all up, but a little trick that I've learned is spray on polish. I'll show you a quick example. If you've ever had any spray on polish and you're trying to mask up, you'll know how difficult it is to get this stuff to stick to any kind of polish that you've got left behind. Hence why we have wax and grease remover. You can see just how effective a little bit of spray polish can be in preventing things from sticking. So a little bit of spray polish on areas that you don't want to get any overspray on them will it's just a quick and easy way to prevent overspray from getting places you don't want it to be. I will mask up when I go to do the full respray, but while I'm just doing a little bit of patches on tiny little bits here and there, that's sufficient to keep the overspray off for now. Next step, wax and grease remover and primer. goodness. Anytime you're ready, shush. It's been raining, and unfortunately it looks like it's going to keep raining. So I'm going to wrap the video up here. Yeah, you'll have to come back next time and see this thing finished in primer and then top coat. Oh God. See you then. I think a chicken is laying an egg. No, maybe not.